do I need to take this risk? Working with God helps you take risks. It gives you more peace, calm, and courage to take appropriate, wise risks that are the right ones.
Audio Jungle.
Hello and welcome to Business Focus, produced by the Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce. My name is Angela Inzerillo with Impact Business Solutions, and I'm privileged to be your host as we highlight the great work our local businesses are doing. Well, if this is your first time here, welcome. This is going to be a very good and exciting show, as they all are, I must say. But I am glad that you're here, and we would love for you to subscribe, comment, like, share what we're doing. We're sharing some great work that our local businesses are doing in the region, and we just want to make you aware of it as it happens. So today is going to be an exciting show. I'm not 100% sure where it's going to go, but I know it's going to be good. Mr. Eliyahu Lotzar, Dr. Eliyahu Lotzar, yes, from Reframed Reality. He is the principal consultant and founder. Eliyahu, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Angela. It is an honor and very fun to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. We always have good conversations, and I can't imagine this is going to be any different. So thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we should have like a warning sign. Hey, folks, we're not sure what direct. We did have a discussion, though, about what we want to talk about. But like I said, you never know where it's going to go.
If it'll help, I can put on a tie, and then I get very formal when I do that.
No. We want you to be you. That's what this show is all about. So anyway, well, thank you. You are celebrating what? Are you a year member yet with the chamber? No,
not quite. Not quite. I'm still in my first year.
There you go. One of our new members. And, another one that just jumps right in, right?
Yep, absolutely.
He's like, what do I need to do? You've got a fabulous ambassador.
If you do say so yourself.
I do say so myself. Well, you asked all the right questions, right? It's like, hey, how do I get involved? And what do I need to do to give back?
I mean, people in the Reston area are they're really cool. They're gung-ho, and they got cool things going on. So, yeah, why not jump in, of course.
All right, so Reframed Reality. Let's talk a little bit. I want to talk a little about, because I love understanding how businesses get started, right? You came from the corporate world and you've been working your entire career with people. And we're going to talk a lot about people today. We might inject the little God word as well later on. I'm excited to talk about that. But Reframed Reality, what does it mean? How'd you get started? Let's share.
Okay. So yes, I have been in the corporate world, but directly before I started Reframed Reality, I came from the workforce development world. So that's a whole different thing. That's not the corporate workforce development, like learning and development, part of HR kind of workforce development, but the people who think, oh my God, I need a job. And what they mean is I need money. And I was there to retrain them in how they think, retrain them in soft skills, give them a sense of self-understanding, self-awareness, how they show up with other people, meaning at work, so that they can not only get a job, but also keep a job and move up as fast as their technical ability allows. Because usually what stops people is what limits them, that kind of glass ceiling is often, I think that other person's better for the promotion. Well, why? There's certain managerial principles, leadership principles, and just basic people skills. And there are different people skills you need at different levels. And so I was teaching them that and working with that. And I was teaching the instructors how to work with students, and I worked with county leadership. And at the end of the federal grant, because all federal grants come to an end, as many people know.
Especially recently.
Yeah, but it was a pre-scheduled one. 7 years was a good run.
Very.
But even this thing that both Democrats and Republicans agreed on at some point, went away. So I said, you know what? I love what I'm doing. And that's when I opened up Reframed Reality. Why is it Reframed Reality? I heard that question in there before.
Yes.
Okay. It's because the essence of what I do to help solve group problems, team problems, problems with teams of teams or running organizations, and grabbing opportunities is help people see things differently. Because when we're in our day to day and we're doing it, we're like, but that other person this, and this software that, and like all the details of stuff, and thinking about deadlines. And what I help do is say, wait a minute, we need to look at it from, what if we looked at it from this point of view?
Mm-hmm.
How would that change things to solve some of these ongoing problems or challenges, or to make things work faster, better? You know, how about that? So I reframe the reality for leaders, and then help them get started in implementing that so that it's, a solid frame.
And so it's a change. And do they even realize it? Like, what's happening in the organization for them to be reframed? Do they even really know it? I applaud anyone who came to you early to say, hey, I need help in my career. A lot of people don't admit it. They don't even realize it. So how are these organizations even really realizing they don't need to be reframed? But you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Nobody comes to me and says, that's true. Nobody comes to me and says, I think I need reframing. Right. So no, it's normal stuff that executives go through, or managers, very different sets of challenges. But like, here's a typical example. Somebody on the executive team, maybe HR, maybe COO, will come to me and say, we got this manager here, and this manager is good, and we want to invest in them a little, but they're not quite executive material. Can you turn them into executive material? They don't say it with that phrasing. I'm from New Jersey. I apologize for rough
I
talk.
get you.
But
No,
yeah,
I'm a New Yorker. I get it right away.
yeah,
No, but
yeah.
I get it. No, so they will come to you realizing they don't know exactly what the end result is. They just know that that person needs extra.
They know it when they see
Support.
it. Yeah, exactly. And they see, well, they also want certain situations to go away. Like maybe their team has not the executive team, but the manager's team may have more turnover than they should, and it's starting to get a little suspicious. Like maybe it's actually the manager, right? Or maybe other managers are saying, that person's they don't play well in the sandbox. And, at the executive level, you really have to play well in the sandbox, and you have to think outside of your own needs for the organization's needs. And so it's all about, how do other people see things? How can I see from another person's point of view? And what are the frameworks I can use to do that? Yeah.
Do you tend to deal with a certain size organization that works better in?
Yeah. Great question. So my clients have typically been, whether commercial or associations or nonprofits. A large part have actually been associations. There are any place from, the smallest would be about 7 people,
Mm-hmm.
to which is really individual one-to-one work with the leader, um, to 300, 400, 500 people. Um, that's the me, and then that's reframed reality. Now, you're also talking to Eliyahu. I do a lot of things, I never stop. So, uh, the other part of me is that I am an Adizes associate. Now, I don't give you any easy names, do I? This is all Eastern European stuff. Sorry.
I was going to say, I got to go look that one up real quick.
Yeah,
Or you can define it for the audience.
ADIZES. Right. So the Adizes Institute, or Adizes Institute Worldwide, is a organizational transformation company, consultancy really, that's been around for about 50 years. We work in over, so far, 82 countries. I translate down their material for working in the size company that I talked to you about. But when it comes to larger companies, I put on my Adizes associate hat. I bring in other associates. That's some real deep work with organizations that are certainly at least 30 million, but from 50 million and up, not public companies. That's out of my wheelhouse, but privately owned companies that are 50 million and more. So then I go with this much more structured method of consulting.
And is there a specific industry that you deal mostly with?
The main industries that I've worked with are healthcare, IT, a little bit higher ed, and manufacturing. Typically, with smaller organizations, especially, I'm just with the leadership team. Okay. Because that's where the source of things are. My job isn't to come in and isn't to say, listen, I'm not an expert at finance. I'm not an expert at logistics or purchasing or any particular department. What I am useful for is taking taking a group of people, typically at the leadership level, the executive team, the power four, which is the CEO, the COO, the CFO, and one or two others that keep changing, maybe VP of strategy, and either that super level or the expanded leadership team, and getting them all to see on the same page so that so many solutions are there within them. The challenge is getting forward motion on a particular solution. So I pull that out of them and bring them to an implementation structure that deals with the what, the who, the how, the when, and the where.
So the framework to improve it.
Yeah, exactly. So leadership team, if there's one silo that I also work with more, it's HR. Because HR will call me in and say, hey, I got a manager, or hey, I got a team. Can you do a training? Or hey, I need our whole leadership trained up in some leadership topic. And it's true, there isn't always a problem. However, there's always, once you start asking people, there's always things that they want to get done that aren't being done, that can't get done. Well, the environment isn't right for it. So my job is, of course, with the internal environment, not, well, let's get Capitol Hill to pass a regulation, whatever. But with the internal environment, yeah, there are always things that leaders want to have happen within their organization that are not happening. So they may think, well, we just don't have the resources. Sometimes that's true. Sometimes it's, well, we don't have people's cooperation because we're not on the same page. Or it often comes down to how people work. So I help with that.
I was going to say, is it more process or is it more mindset? Both, probably.
You can't have one without the other.
Right.
If you just do process, you're not dealing with the why question, and so you can use your authority and say this is what we're going to do, but it only lasts so long and it's going to go slow. If you only deal with the mindset, then you'll do a maybe half a day or a day retreat, and they'll be like, oh wow, yeah, and then they go back to the systems that they know, and the pressure of how they've been doing things and the deadlines they have make it so that the new mindset doesn't get implemented. You have to do both. So I start with the symptoms. I draw a map of the symptoms, say, well, look, how about this underlying situation here? Can you, let's put the dots together. It seems like there's an underlying situation. So what if we looked at it this way? And that would solve these things. Oh, yeah. So, but how does that work? Okay. Well, in structure, it works this way, and the timing of things, we're going to do this and then this, and you're going to put together this team for solving that and this team for solving that.
The objective point of view is so critical. I mean, people are just not going to see that. So for you to come in and, like you said, you're not the finance expert or expert in their particular area. It's the structure and the framework.
And the solutions come from them.
Right.
I just pull it out, verbalize it, get them to agree on it, and get them to say, okay, therefore, and then that's where you get the pushback. Well, I don't know. And then I'm like, okay, so it's not really what you want, is it? And then we go back to, okay, what do you really want? We have to get down to what you really want as a group. So.
And is it something where you kind of come in, not fix it, but try to fix it, right? Analyze it, give suggestions, and then see you next year, or is it something that you do ongoing?
It's something in between short-term and ongoing. It's not like
Yeah.
forever. It depends on the size of the change. Okay, so if I have an executive coaching or manager coaching situation, 6 months, and then let's reevaluate. Sometimes it gets extended for maybe another
Sure.
3 months, right? But my whole goal is transforming how they see and developing a habit of transforming how I see and examining how I see and looking at data of how other people see
See,
things.
yeah.
Okay, so, surveys and whatnot. So there's an initial, and that's executive coaching. If it's organizational transformation, yeah, if it's a training, I can hop in and come in and do a training, but I don't really appreciate that as much as, well, wait a minute, let's be solution oriented. Let's define the problem and work on it. Those things tend to be 6 months, a year.
Sure.
When I involve Adhesives, it's more like 2 years of being with them so that the change goes deep and is implemented, and it's from information that they have that we just pull out.
Well, if it's okay with you, and this has been great, I love just kind of understanding what you're about and kind of how you got to where you are. But I did want to talk about your book. I don't know if you've got it
Yeah,
there. You can show people. But
someplace.
oh, look, he's like, I just happen to have it
I just
here.
happened to
Oh,
have her on the shelf.
look. Of all those great books.
You want to see it?
I do.
Okay.
I want to talk about it.
Yeah,
Whoa.
absolutely.
I love it.
Okay.
So now you talked about so walk the people through it. We talked a little bit about this earlier, where you work with individuals and then you work with teams and then you work with organizations. So what is working with God like?
Okay, good. So remember, the business is Reframed Reality, right?
Right.
So my whole life, which also included a very long stint earning my living as a photographer. I had my own
Really?
studio. I had a wedding photography business for a while.
Okay.
So framing things and taking pictures of things and seeing things, hugely, hugely important. So the question is, once you work with an individual and see what's their perspective, and then you integrate that with a group perspective, which is enough of a work. Like, how does the group get its results and the individual do their own professional development where it's a win-win? That's huge. How do you do that at organization wide?
Right.
And right, that's huge. So what is, now that I'm as old as I am, and you do see the gray hairs,
A
little bit. So what is then the next level perspective? And to me, the perspective of perspectives is God. Okay. Not that we can have God's perspective on everything, but we can work with God, have a connection to God, have a relationship with God, and from there receive guidance, from there have understanding, from there have insight that helps my leadership. And so I'm not just leading from what I know, and I'm not just leading from, Jim Collins's level 5 leader of the humble one who lifts other people up and brings other people together, which is fabulous. I'm not just leading from my perspective or from the group's perspective. I am also leading from whatever I can pull from God's perspective. How's them potatoes?
That I told you, folks, we're going deep here. Well, it's hard. I'm to some extent a spiritual person, but it's I'm also very practical, if that makes sense. That's why I was asking you the difference between kind of the mindset and then practical use, and then this feeling of God or this faith that you have in what you're doing. So is the book about helping people have a better relationship or having more faith in their
Yes,
relationship with God?
it's also about that. That's right. It's about strengthening my relationship with God, not in the way of any particular spiritual practice. It's not about being a better fill in the blank religious sect,
Religious. Yep. Yep.
right? Um, it's about how do I maintain awareness of God while I'm doing the thing that I do for so many hours a day, which is work, right? So it's really about integrating God into my leadership. So this book presents 10 modes,
Okay.
okay? God not only created our fingers and our toes, and the world out there with trees, he also created ways of operating, modes of operation, right? So there's sometimes, leaders take out thought time, so they're in thinking mode,
Hmm.
observing mode, considering mode, right? Sometimes if, especially like COOs, they're in get it done
Some
mode,
mode.
right? HR people might be in um, protection
Protect.
mode, right? We got this crazy employee here who's getting a little bit off track. What do we do? So there are all these modes. So I present in this book 10 modes that a leader can analyze their team or project or organization's function and say, oh, okay, that's what's going on. It's a different angle, it's a different way of looking. It's like, what water are we swimming in this situation? Right? So it's analyzing the water, looking at the water, and like, do we need to change water? That's what you take to God. Like, hello, God. I'm noticing this thing. First of all, I'm about to go look. Which mode is important? Help me, guide me. And then look, I see this. Can you guide me? Can you influence me? Can you influence my thinking? Would you not can, but would you? Um, would you grant me some information here? And depending on your level of connection and the
Right.
connection as you go through the book and practice and the action steps and understand each mode through the stories and like that, you get uh, you get a greater and greater ability as you practice to work with what God is giving you, to hear and to differentiate between just all the information that's out there, which AI is trying to give you the best information, but you still have to differentiate between information that's out there and whatever information and wisdom God is trying to give you.
And what you take from that, I mean, it's what you
What I
translate
take,
from.
what I translate from that is then, oh, this is what I need to do. This is what those people need to do. This is how I need to influence. This is the direction, not necessarily in terms of, the strategic plan for the next 3 years, though maybe that, but in terms of how do I need to operate as a leader? Do I need to make sure that more stuff is getting done? Do I need to emphasize put in some more rules, regulations, and practices that people need to abide by? Do I need to free it up for innovation? Do I need to take this risk? Working with God helps you take risks. It gives you more peace, calm, and courage to take appropriate, wise risks that are the right ones.
Have you always been a spiritual person?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I don't know. Maybe not until I was 4 or 5 years old, but I don't know.
Okay, so quite a few years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a few.
Enjoy my conversation with you always, because when we always have fun, and we never sure which direction the conversation is going to go. But also, you're very practical, right? And you're
Yeah.
very great with people, and you're very outgoing, and you like listen, and you're always present, and you're also are very intentional. I always see when if you're out networking or meeting, it's really more about like what you could do for the person you're talking to, right? Making sure that
You've
you're
been listening in.
a little bit. Well, that was one message we talked about, is being present, right? Being intentional. And I don't know, I think in this world as of late, I think it's really hard to do that, generally speaking, right? We're all over the place, and which really means we're nowhere.
Yeah, right. That's why the first. Oh, now I sound like I'm selling my book, which I probably am, but I'm just excited about it. So, the first mode in the book is intent, because everything follows from there. And so when you show up at one of these networking events or one of the educational events or a community event, what's your intention? And if you're clear about it, great. And then there's the question of how big is your intention? Is it just for me, or is my intention bigger? Is it about us? You know, and does it include God's intention, which takes some time to discern, I suppose.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother conversation, Eliyahu. You're gonna have to come back, and we're gonna have to talk more about that. But this is a great introduction, and I wanted to thank you for being here. How can people find you? What's the best way? And I'll scroll it up on the screen here in a minute. But what's the best way?
Thanks. Go to my website,
Okay.
reframedreality.com. That'll tell you more about me. There's a little contact form, or you can just email me, EYL@reframedreality.com, or you can go to LinkedIn. That's another good way. The simplest. Just go to LinkedIn.
I was gonna say that's a good way to connect. I'll make sure that this should scroll up on the screen so people can connect. You can get these flood of calls and talk about the different areas. So,
and I would love to get to know you and your team and your organization, or just you.
Well, thank you for being here. Great to see you and your smiling face and all those fantastic books behind you that are perfectly aligned.
Alignment is important.
Oh, I know. Anyway, again, a whole nother story. I always get off topic with you. This is your fault. It's not mine at all. I have total control.
I agree. Completely agree. That's okay.
All righty, sir. Great to see you. And we will see you at an upcoming event soon. Summer is very busy at the Chamber, as you probably know. So there's lots going on. So I'm sure we'll see you at some networking event or educational event soon.
Thanks for being here. I look forward to it. Oh, most fabulous of ambassadors.
Thank you. You're kind. I do appreciate it. All right. I'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
And we'll see you on our next episode. Stay in touch with us for future episodes. Like, subscribe, and share. See you next time.